Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our Draft Prospect Show. Today, Vincent, we're going to talk about Cobee Bryant. No, not the basketball player. We're talking about a tremendous defensive back out of Kansas. First, I'd like to say thank you to Logan Landers for helping out with our engineering and producing the show, and Vincent Turner, who is our co-host and founder. Vincent, this young man is so impressive to me. I'm thinking at 5'11", which is where most people list him at 171 pounds, you're thinking, oh, how's he even on the field? He's too small. But the talent that he has, his ability to cover and be a glove, if he were 6'2", he'd be an All-American and probably the second or third player picked in the draft. But he's a little light and maybe a half inch or an inch smaller than what everyone wants. But other than that, my gosh, he's first Big Ten, Big 12, excuse me, first team there for 3 years. He's played in 44 games. What an impressive young man. Give me your first thoughts that you have when we were going to talk about this Cobee Bryant defensive back out of Kansas, Jayhawk.
You really want to know my opinion?
Yes, I do.
Man coverage, A plus. Old school type cornerback. Closing speed as a corner, A plus. Outstanding football player out of University of Kansas. And when you look at his game and you talk about comparisons, he's got a little bit of Marcus Peters in him, a little bit of Trent McDuffie, who's a two-time Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, didn't win one this year, game similar. Reminds me of Pat Thomas that played with the LA Rams back in the day. A little bit of like Aaron Glenn, now the new head coach of the New York Jets when he was in the league. And it reminds me of a guy I saw play at a high level at the University of Memphis, Donnie Elder, who was a second-round pick in the 85 draft along with you, Mr. Harper LaBelle. Back to you, sir.
Well, let's take a look a little bit at what this young man has been able to do. One, first of all, feed him at Kansas. You give him a meal, okay? It's all right to feed this young man because 171 pounds, his speed and everything about him has just been amazing. He's the number 27, middle of the pack there in terms of the DBs that are coming out of a possible score of 100. He rates at an 82.4 presently. That might change again. The combine just happened. We could have some new numbers there. And then obviously his pro day is going to be a critically important day for him. One of the first things that is mentioned about him, his timing and his precision in the jab, in the reach, and his ability to put his hand on a defensive back, on a wide receiver as a defensive back at the snap of the ball. It's second to none. He is excellent at slowing down a wide receiver, getting him off his course, and making a simple little out route into a lot more difficult situation. And it upsets the receiver, it upsets the timing with the quarterback, and it can upset the play. Those are some things that really stick out. His man coverage, ball skills, long arms, 31 and 7/8 inch arms. He is great at making the wide receiver reestablish his route and trying to get back on it. He's a little small right now, okay? He's skinny, and there's injury risks that people are going to weigh. Well, I'd rather get with the guy that's not going to get hurt as much as him. He's too little. He won't be able to do it. I don't think that's going to be a final solution, but it may cost him a second or third round pick where someone will steal him in the fourth or fifth round if that continues to be the case. But feed him, get him in the weight room, let everybody see how much stronger that he is, how much better he is, because everything else that he does, he trails in the pocket, his ability to throw off your timing, all of this stuff, Vincent, in my opinion, just adds up to a guy that you would certainly want on your roster.
All you have to do is, you want to know how special he is as a football player, I always say go to the game film. Against the University of Houston this year, 3 tackles for 3 interceptions. Against Colorado, 3 tackles and 2 pass breakups against Shedeur Sanders. Then you talk about Western Kentucky early in the year, 2 tackles, 1 interception. Big time player. Game film, when the lights on, he's George Benson on Broadway. Magic in the air. The only thing is what my man, Mr. Harper LaBelle, just said about him. 5'11", 170, he's probably going to have to put on some weight. But this gentleman right here, I expect there's going to be a guy that's going to make a lot of money playing the cornerback position in the National Football League. Back to you, Hawk.
Yeah, his bump and run skills are amazing. He started 44 games in his 4 years at Kansas. He had 13 interceptions during that time. His back pedal and technique, his zone coverage, he reaches up, and here's another weakness. Let me be careful about how I say this. There are times when he's going up for a 50-50 ball. He might grab an arm. He might grab the jersey. He's been prone to penalties. He'll need to correct that, obviously. There isn't a coach out there that will say, no, I'm going to accept that out of this guy. If it happens just a little bit too often, right, you might get yourself off a roster. And I'm not predicting that for him. I'm just saying that is something that has been an issue. But he locates the football very well. He has top end closing speed, period. He's fast. He gets the ball. He's not afraid of contact. He's a good tackler in the run game, where some guys that are excellent pass defenders, they won't do. He just breaks plays up at the NFL level. Is going to be something that he's going to be absolutely great at when somebody does make that decision to pick him. He's a versatile athlete. He's physical. He's got some weaknesses. Everybody does, but I'm thinking Cobee Bryant, not only from the namesake perspective, is someone that any secondary coach, safeties. I don't think he's going to play safety, but a defensive coordinator will be going, even at the worst, I'm going to put this guy in nickel situations, and he's going to be a shutdown guy against the slot.
Remember this: we're not talking about Kansas basketball right now. We're not talking about Bill Self. We're talking about a top-rated corner that's played for the Kansas Jayhawks football team, who I think and expect is going to be a special player at the next level. And you just heard it from a guy that played 11 years in the league. He told y'all he loves this football player. The only thing is his weight concern. And I'm going to give him the nickname, as Mr. Hopper LaBelle said in the opening, the glove. Back to you, Hop.
Yeah. Well, he does such a good job of covering wide receivers. And I always use the joke. I say, what do you call a wide receiver that can't catch? He's a DB, right? But this is a guy that obviously his 13 interceptions, and with his speed, it's a rare combination. And again, if he had 10 extra pounds on him right now, we wouldn't be talking about him as maybe ranked number 20, 27, 29, somewhere. We'd probably be talking about a top 5 guy. But he's that close. And that to me is a real difference maker. So he's got some things that he needs to work on before the draft and even afterwards, because once he gets into camp, that's going to be a big deal for him, is for him to keep his weight up, keep his strength, and be able to play at a level where you guard against a Julio Jones type guy when you're one-on-one with him. Don't be taken advantage of. Get yourself ready to go, because it's going to happen. Cobee Bryant will be picked. Final thoughts here from you, Vincent.
Excellent football player. You look what the National Football League is going. We all need good cornerbacks. We need people that can cover. This gentleman right here fits the bill. Back to you, Hawk.
Yep, Cobee Bryant, 5'11", 6 feet, right in that area, 170, 75 pounds, somewhere in that area. He is a cornerback out of Kansas that you will be talking about probably on day 2, but most likely he'll be gone by day 3. So we wish him well, and we look forward to seeing more about him and his career. For Vincent Turner, for our producer and engineer, Logan Landers, I'm Harper LaBelle saying thank you for tuning into our Draft Prospects show here on 100 Yards of Football. Have a fantastic day, everybody.